As I promised you, I said I would be teaching you the 21 strategies and secrets that most prophets use to prophesy. And I will also teach you among the 21 my favorite top 7 strategies and keys that I use to prophesy. So this is day 7, and I am giving you the 7th strategy that I use, which most prophets also use. This is day 7, and day 7, the 7th strategy that most prophets use to prophesy when prophesying. The 7th strategy that most prophets use when prophesying or to prophesy to people. And this is my favorite strategy, and I use this strategy anytime I am calling out somebody from the crowd. Anytime I'm calling somebody out of the crowd, I use this strategy, and it worked perfectly for me. And you see, when I started prophesying, I found out that sometimes I will call out a name, I will call out somebody, and the person will come forward from the crowd or from the congregation. And one major thing I find out that when I'm prophesying to the person, sometimes I mention details, name, the job the person do, or family, or strategic information, and I could see that the person is just panicking, and the person don't know whether to say yes or no, what we are saying is true. The confirmation doesn't come the way I want it. So when I decided to upgrade myself in the prophetic, I discovered this strategy. And this strategy, I use it almost any day, any time I am prophesying, especially when I'm calling out somebody from the crowd. Now, I found out that sometimes there are people who have never been prophesied to before. There are people who have never received accurate prophecy about their life, their finances, their family, or anything like that. So if you call them out of the crowd, maybe you said, I am hearing a name, and the Lord is telling me that there is a man here by name, or there's a woman here by name Joanne. And the Joanne that I'm talking about, Joanne, you have 3 daughters and 1 son. And you see, Joanne is never expecting that level of accuracy. Joanne is never expecting that out of the 1,000 or 100 of people gathered, you pick her up, mention her name, mention the name of her 3 daughters and her only son. So most of the time when these people come out, you can see that they are very panicking. They're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So the 7th strategy is to take away the panic. Okay, so I call it panic relief. The 7th strategy is called panic relief. That is my favorite strategy I use, the panic relief. So when I call out somebody like that and the person is panicking, like, oh my God, oh my God, and at that moment, if you go ahead prophesying to that person, the person will frustrate you and confuse you. The person will say yes instead of saying no, and the person will say no instead of saying yes, because the person is the person is just panicking. The person is just out of this world. The person is overwhelmed. The person cannot even tell. That is where most people that are prophesied to, sometimes they have to go and watch the video to even tell what I told them. And sometimes some of them will reach out to me and say, Prophet, I remember you mentioned this name, and I say, I don't know anybody like that. But when I was watching the video, I realized that that is the name of my uncle. That is the name of my auntie. And I would be like, how come you couldn't remember the name of your uncle when I was prophesying to you in the church? They were panicking. So they couldn't even remember certain basic things I was prophesying about. So the panic relief is very important. So this is how I go about it. So sometimes when I call somebody and the person is panicking, like, I say, how are you doing? So the panic relief says that you need to establish a normal conversation with the person until the person is no longer panicking. The panic relief says that when you call out somebody or somebody come to you and the person is panicking, you need to establish a general conversation with the person to calm the person down before prophesying to the person. Okay, because sometimes there are people when they come to see you, because of what they've seen you do, maybe on the radio, on the TV, or social media, how you prophesy to people, they are expecting that you are going to just start hitting the nail on the point, mention their name, their father's name, their relative, back, like that. So when they come and sit in front of you, or when they come to see you, they were like, so at that moment, you have to put in place this 7th key, the panic relief. So sometimes I'll be like, especially if the person is a female, I come with a compliment. I like your hair. Is it from China or India? So by the time I say, I like your hair, is it from China or India? Somebody who is doing like, all of a sudden will start laughing. And by the time the person finished laughing, the person is now ready to receive the prophetic word. Yeah, are you getting it? Yeah, so sometimes I use compliment. Yeah, sometimes I ask a question. Yeah, who invited you to this church? Who invited you to this conference? You see a lot of prophets ask some of these questions. Who invited you here? The prophet is not interested in who invited you. The prophet is not really interested to know who really invited you. It's just to calm you down. So people be like, I was expecting the prophet to prophesy to me, but he was just asking me questions. Yes, just to calm you down, to receive the prophetic word that is about to come. So who invited you here? Say, my uncle, yes, my uncle. Then the panic is still there. So we have to look for another question. Yeah, how far do you live from here? Where do you work? Yeah, where do you live? Where do you work? How many children do you have? Are you married? Yeah, so most of these questions, you establish it to help the person to relieve this form of panic that the person is having. Okay? Yeah. Now you establish this, you ask these questions to help the person relieve the tension that is on them, the panic that is on them. The panic relief work a lot. Most of my prophecies, when I call out somebody from the crowd, you will always hear me asking the person some basic questions. Yeah. Sometimes I'll ask, are you from this country? You speak good English. Yeah. I like your dress. I like your shoe. I like this. I like this. Just to calm the person down. So if you don't put in place this key and strategy, you can be giving somebody a very accurate prophecy, but the person is telling you no. Why? Because the person is panicking and the person can't even recall the accuracy you are operating with. You can even mention somebody's own son or daughter's name and the person will tell you, I don't know anybody by that name. Meanwhile, that is the son's name, that is the daughter's name. Why? Because the person is panicking and out of himself or herself. Out of himself or herself. And you see, at the end of these 21 days, all the principles, the keys, and the strategies you must know. As far as the prophetic is concerned, I will give it to you raw and raw and raw. One of the biggest key you must know about this secret is that there are exemptions. You don't ask certain questions that can be prophetically inclined. Okay, you don't answer the question. You know, what's the name of your husband? What is the name of your children? You don't ask specific questions. Just ask general questions. Sometimes, how are you? Yeah. Sometimes, how are you? Yeah. How are you? Is it the first time in this church, or is it the first time coming to this conference? Yeah. Were you here yesterday? Yeah. General questions. That will not let the person reveal any personal informations. General questions that will not allow the person to reveal personal information. Okay, and sometimes one of the criticism I receive about this strategy is that most people, especially sometimes I see comment on Facebook, on YouTube, and people be like, why is he asking the person questions before prophesying to the person? Yeah, most of the time I see comment like that. Why is he asking the person question before prophesying to the person? And it's because the people asking that question don't understand the prophetic administration. And the reason why we ask the people questions is to make them relieve tension so they can cooperate with us. Is to help us. Okay, so some is very important for you to ask people questions, to establish questions with them, to get them to the place where the tensions that is on them, they relieve it, so they can now respond to you from the place of a sound mind, not for frustration. So the next time you call somebody out of the crowd, out of the congregation, and the person comes forward, most of the time, if you go straight forward to prophesy to the person can frustrate you. Yeah. You can say, I am hearing a name, Jennifer. The person say, Jennifer. I don't know anybody, Jennifer. I don't know who is Jennifer. Meanwhile, his or her mother's name is Jennifer. But at that moment, Jennifer. No, I don't know who is Jennifer. Say, okay, who is David? David can be the person's father's name. Say, David. No, I don't know who David is. Yeah. After the prophecy, the person will go back and be like, what just happened? Jennifer is my mother and David is my father. And sometimes I have seen it where I'll be prophesying to somebody and the person will say, I don't know anybody by that name. And somebody who knows the person will say, that is your sister's name. Then the person will now say, yeah, it's true. That's my sister's name. And you'll be like, how come it is your sister's name and you don't know? Panic effect. Yeah, panic effect. So it is very important. That is why even when you go to, I used to be, one major thing I hate and I don't like is to take injection. Okay, yeah. So the last time I'll be traveling, I need some kind of injection. Okay, and more than 30 minutes, I couldn't just allow the nurse to inject me. Okay, but I remember the last time I went to a very professional doctor to take some injection, and the doctor was just talking to me. By the time I realized, he's finished the injection. Yeah, but when you go to these wicked nurses, they will look at your face like this and take the syringe and do like this. Come. They say, come. Yeah, no, like no, just like that. So you be like, you mean you want to push all this long thing into my body? Yeah, they say, come for the injection, ready. But when you go to somebody who is very professional and experienced, just say, look at this plate. The person will just tell you, be looking here. So how was your day? Where do you live? The person will just be talking to you. By the time you realize he has finished injecting you. Yeah. So when it comes to the prophetic, it's very important for you to put in place this seventh key, panic relief. This seventh key, the panic relief, is very important. The panic relief is very important. So I want to take your questions. Yeah, Jennifer, you can ask your question. Your hand is up. So Jennifer, let me hear your questions. Jennifer, let me ask him here. You can ask your question. You can unmute yourself and ask your question. David, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Yeah. Oswin, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. I'm taking 10 questions from 10 people. I'm taking 10 questions from 10 people.